Hello everyone, it's Moonkin FTW. Welcome to another episode of the RCT3 Coaster Challenge. A challenge where we try to build a roller coaster for every single type of coaster in the game in RCT3. And there's a lot of them, so there's going to be a lot of episodes, which is also a nice challenge. Today we're revisiting an old friend of mine, so to say, which is the Hyper Twister coaster. One that I barely ever use these days because, you know, the Hyper Twister coaster, the extended coaster basically has everything the Hyper Twister coaster has. So yeah, I never ever use this, but I'm going to go ahead and try my best to make a good Hyper coaster. So we're going to make one that is at least 200 feet tall, of course, and it's going to be a little bit more advanced in terms of the track, if you will, compared to the Aero Hyper coaster we made in the previous episode. So the design is pretty simple. I am incorporating a few caves, if you will, or some like tunnels or something with some fog to add some extra, I don't know, like excitement or whatever you want to call it. So that is part of the roller coaster. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and spend some time on these supports because this ride is very tall, which also means that the supports I have, or the pre-made supports, are too small. So I'm gonna have to make a few pre-made supports that I'm going to save and then I can use in this design. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but you know, and it's also nice to have for the next coasters I'm going to build that are going to be very tall. I already have this design in place. So I'm just going to save this, and we're going to spam this over and over again. And as you can see, this is very quick and kind of easy to do. And this saves me a lot of time. I've expressed this many times in my tutorials before, or previous videos, but you know, using that the pre-saved option is very handy because you can basically copy paste pre-made supports all over the place, and it'll save you an absolute ton of time. If you if you even build one project, but if you build multiple, it's just going to save you so much time. Like, I imagine this would take me at least 3 times as much time if I would just build everything piece by piece. Because Moby Steel Jungle, the add-on I'm using for these supports, is very nice, it's very versatile, but it's very time consuming if you would not use this pre-saved option. So yeah, just a little tip there for anyone that's listening that is maybe new to RCT3. I don't think RCT3 gets a lot of new players, to be honest with you. Even the following for RCT3 is very small, so there are some people that enjoy seeing designs in RCT3, but you know, people that actually play it and make designs like this, it's very limited. But you know, that's for me, that's okay. I'm doing this because I absolutely love this game. It reminds me of my childhood a little bit, so it's also a bit of nostalgia, but it's also, you know, because I really enjoy building roller coasters in the game. I'm not sure what it is, but I just like that simple kind of blocky track design from RCT. And I like, of course, all the things that you can do around it. So, you know, you can do a lot of things with the park and flat rides and scenery, and you name it, it's all there. So that's really cool. So we're going to go ahead and make a few last pre-made supports, or excuse me, custom-made supports, because I've used most of the pre-made ones, and I've spammed them wherever I could, and it actually covered a large amount of the track, so that's really nice. And now for the remaining parts, I am going to I'm just gonna make some custom supports, and this is always what I have. You place all those pre-made supports. It's always gonna be a small section that you have to make yourself, basically, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna add some flanges here, and I think that's mostly it for the custom supports. Just a few more things I want to add here. So some footers, of course, to make sure that all the supports have footers. And I think I'm gonna have to place some supports for the brake run as well, so that's all covered. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over the roller coaster here and just see, okay, where have I missed something? Do I need to add some flanges? Did I miss some footers? Did I do this? Just some fine tuning to make sure that the ride itself is all done. And it's going pretty fast. Again, this being a hyper coaster means it's going to be very long. It's a very big roller coaster, so you're also going to have a lot of, you're going to have to build a lot of supports, and it's going to be very time consuming, as opposed to a very compact, floorless roller coaster or something like that. This is just going to take a lot of time regardless. So here I'm going to make the tunnel, and I kind of like this effect because it goes underground. I kind of like that idea, and I'm going to use these fog particle generators. So when you go through the first drop, you have that fog to add extra excitement, if you will. and also the second one where you go underground. So the color theming is going to be the same as in Goliath in, I believe it's Six Flags Over Texas or Six Flags Magic Mountain. Either way, the Goliath Giovanola hypercoaster that you see in Six Flags, that one, which basically is blue supports with orange track. It's actually a roller coaster I really, really want to ride. I know it's not on everyone's like bucket list, but I just, ever since I saw it in RCT2 and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, there's no way that's real. Come on, that's ridiculous. And then I looked at footage and I was like, oh my God, it's actually real. I really want to ride this. So yeah, it's a bit of an homage, if you will, to that roller coaster. I'm gonna go ahead and install the catwalk here, of course, all the way to the top. And of course, I'm gonna use a catwalk system also for the brake run. But first, we're gonna build a station. And for the station, I'm gonna use a basic design that I've used all throughout my coaster career, if you will. And before we do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and make some pathing, because this roller coaster is so large. I do want some track around the roller coaster the same way I did with the hypercoaster. And the idea is that around this pathing, I will also add some flat rides here and there to make it, look a bit more like a park. Again, if the roller coaster I'm making has a special theme and it's not too big, or it's just a small roller coaster or whatever, I don't tend to make a whole park around it. But with a roller coaster this big, I really want to, like I said, make it a little bit of a park. Else the whole area of the hyper coaster, which is so big, will just kind of feel empty and weird, if you ask me. So I'm going to use Beastie's Path mod, the Beastie's Path covers, to make these very nice curves or corners in the paths. And it's an add-on I absolutely adore. It just completely transforms the paths. The only problem is it blocks the shades of objects, so it kind of looks a little janky here and there. But in return, you get these super nice and fancy looking paths. So the goods outweigh the bads, basically. The pros outweigh the cons. I'm going to add a chair swing here, and I'm going to add a spiral slide. I'm looking to see what I can fit here. I'm not sure, but I'm going to settle on, I believe it's a Ferris wheel here. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to settle on the Ferris wheel. I'm not going to spend too much time on theming these ones, just because they're kind of filler. I'm not building an actual park. I'm just building some things around it. So here we have that coaster ball that I've made in the RCT3 challenge. And since I saved it with all the scenery, I can just plop it down, copy paste, boom, there you go. I got a nice looking coaster for this scenario. And this is also a very simple compact coaster I made, the compact inverted coaster, so I can just copy paste and boom, there you go. I can do that, and it's just, that really helps in making the park feel more alive. Like, oh, there's a few other rides and a couple of roller coasters. So that's what I like. So I'm just going to finish up the pathing here from Beastie's Path covers, and then I'm going to focus on the station, I believe. Yeah, so the station, I'm going to use Woden's girders and glass. And this is kind of a go-to design of me. It's very simple, it's straightforward, but I think it looks quite nice. It's very sleek looking, if you will. So it's one that I've used many times before, and there's a good reason, because I just really like the way it looks. So that is now all done, and I'm going to make a bit of a catwalk here, and the idea is that for this part I want there to be some protection against the guests that are walking below. I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but to me it kind of makes sense, if you ask me. I see that sometimes in parks. So I'm going to finish this stuff right here, and then that's mostly it. We just need to add some foliage, of course, so we're going to add some trees. I'm not going to cover, of course, the whole map, because unfortunately with RCT3, if you put a lot of objects in your park, the frame rate is just going to tank really badly, regardless if you have a really powerful PC. It just doesn't matter. The game is just not optimized that well. So I'm just going to stick to foliage around the roller coaster and a little bit in between the rides and everything. And I forgot this part right here, so I'm going to build some simple supports. So you can see why I'm always just double checking everything. But that's pretty much it for the hypercoaster. I really like how this turned out. It's it's like I said, an homage to Goliath or Titan in Six Flags. With that, it's a hypercoaster. It's got the yellow track, blue supports. It's got the drop with the tunnel with some fog and everything, and it's got the similar cars. So I'm genuinely happy with this. I think it's going to be quite a smooth ride. I'm not sure about the last bunny hop. It might be a little bit too fast, but you know, and like I said, this idea of the roller coaster challenge is that I build a roller coaster for every single type, and they don't have to be absolutely perfect every single time, because else that will take me just a ridiculous amount of time. So yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with the design. I like how it turned out. It's a bit different than of course, the more old school hyper coaster that we've made in episode 20. But yeah, I generally like it. Looks really nice. I'm a big fan of that color scheme, you know, orange track and blue supports. So anyway, let's go ahead and ride this and see what it's like to sit in this big old hyper coaster. So here we go, onto the lift hill. As we're climbing and climbing and climbing, I imagine the first drop's going to be pretty epic. I think it's about 220 feet. Fun fact, Goliath at Six Flags is 255 feet, I believe. So that's actually a really, really big drop. Okay, here we go. Yes, we're at the top. Oh, that's pretty high up. Here we go, into the tunnel. Oh, damn, okay, that's a lot of speed. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna turn to the right here. Yes. A little bit of air time here. I'm gonna go into some overbank turns. Nice. Very smooth. Into the second tunnel, which is underground. That looks kind of cool. I might change the scenery a little bit, but for now it's okay. Into the final bunny hops or airtime hills. Let's see how this looks. That's okay. That's also perfectly fine. That's a little fast, but still, it's still pretty good. You know, the last hill I could change it maybe a little bit, but generally speaking, that's quite a good ride. I like it. So yeah, there we go. That's another challenge in the pocket. That's the Hyper Twister coaster. I'll be back soon with another challenge. We're only going to be up to level challenge number 22, and believe it or not, we're not even halfway yet. So this is going to be a long series. But thanks as always for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day.